Oh yeah. 다잖아. 완도 남주 초도마 계신다. 내 남주 살체.
Text.
Yeah. 다전에 점식 측용용 제 소문이 되잖아요. 저 장주고 심 개별 차이디 무송리.第一个 인중 사바 개별 차 송셔고 관련돼야래. 다전에마 돈이도 또 거베 좀제. 다들이야. 내루도 싫으면데는 인중 장주 성로 관제장 시베서 제벌 메뉴에 디지털도 토론배 송대. 다와 되게 돈이 다와 거베 좀제도 송고야래. 다들 배쳐지라고 참만남들나리야 참소 몽단 개미칠 신도 예바 살주 민스 참바다 닝지다 내가 정주고 있으면 대비 덴진을 타가를 누구야 말했어 가려서는 덴진은 넣어야 돼 담바는 짐벨로텔라 담바는 매버 떡벨로 지기 누구를 마도 또 진당 맹게지기 배는 거는 싫어리야 배는 사리다 장리리야 이 레적하게 맹연지기 아니 장리를 두고 말아 봐 배는 대 사로 걸어서 예배 그돌이야 아니 대지 가서 우리 진실을 지키잖아 그 사리를 누구 말아 봐다 차에 레버로 여대버디 매버서야 탑시디 인진민지 사리긴 간다 장리지 야 빠르는 다 롱고르 수이네리 에 컨디션 수이네리 담으면 지금 작업하면 샤체 다 어떤지 장외적이야 폐야지 제베이나 사회적보다 많이 용주거로 디르마도 사회적과 숙청부 예배 그돌이야 다 차와도 매버 주지스 melom 접신이 팽기가 말이 지 매나 아삼이 라점이 팽기가 말이 다 대지 사와 많이 된다리야 지금 인데 배는 열어르시나 지금 최저로 되어 있네 평가가 말해. 그래서 디 지금 간다 매번 인도잖아요. 내시서 저기야 말해. 자상가 심전의 민네 동해도 잔두고 로디 그 데미 더블로 때나 그 treasure에서 그 미국 심전의 미기 대탐저 동해를 자나 선변 진단디 동해를 자나 선변로 진대지. 디기 덴진을 나가게 만들어. 아니 대화도 되나 선배 참받다고 미국 심전은 대회 통배 심전은 미니 대화도 되나 선배로 되기 덴진을 건너 통문도. 자 덴진은 내게디 담바로 똑배로 때라 데미 똑배로 지기다 고요래. 다 담바로 똑세 된다. 라도 똑하도 맞아요. 똑가서 또야 매바고. 죄송아. 지금 지고 차송다. 딱 갖다 드리셔. 담바로 짐벨로 때라 내겐디 담바로 매바 똑배로 지기 내용이야래. 미과 나라 민해봐. 미과 나라 민해 지기 나디 담바로 주버리 삼천데. 담바로 진행했지. 지기 미과 나라 민해 담바요 말 사지. 나코라 담바요 말 쓰잖아요. 덴진을 건 내용도. 도가 자들이 인도잖아요. 가서 로빈 쳐라가 더 소야다 들이 참소 몽단 개미치 신도 예바 살주 민 사디 들이
trong ba cái câu từ đầu lò khi lúc nào mà cái tâm linh mình phát sinh.
So as Master Tsongkhapa as in the beginning of the text he said, I will explain as well best to the best of my abilities these points in a few briefly, and therefore with regard to bodhichitta, the measure of having developed genuine bodhicitta within oneself is not explicitly given in the text, but you have to understand that by extending the logic of renunciation, the measure of having developed renunciation. So similarly, you have to understand the measure of having developed bodhichitta. Grace, fruity, and then verse number 9 says, if you do not have the wisdom realizing the ultimate nature, even if you gain familiarity with realization and awakening mind, you will not be able to cut the root of samsaric existence. So strive in the means of realizing dependent origination. So this shows the reason for developing this correct view, the correct understanding of emptiness. Now, with regard to this understanding, what this understanding of called dependent origination, understanding of the real nature of things does is it counters, it goes counter to the self-grasping or grasping at the true existence in things. Grasping at some independent existence or objective existence on things. And so in order to do away with that, the meditation on loving kindness or compassion and morality and so forth does not counter directly this grasping at a true existence of self. As Master Dharmakirti has said, the loving kindness and so forth, because they do not go called diametrically, they are not diametrically opposite to this grasping at this kind of existence. Therefore, you cannot; these experiences cannot destroy the grasping at true existence. And so it's like. If you want to have less heat, for example, in this hall, if it's very hot, what you should do is to reduce this heat. And in order to do that, you cannot just bring in lots of furniture and arrange them here in the hall, and nor can you just make prayers and wishful thinking and wishing them to wish that this heat may go away. But what you need to do is you need to have either use fan or some air conditioned, or at least even if you don't have these facilities, you can have in order to reduce the heat around you, you can have ice and heaps of ice around you. And so these are the measures to do away with the heat in the room. And so similarly, as compassion, which wishes all sentient beings to be free from suffering, there is some kind of an elaboration, mental construction there, and therefore the compassion and will not go counter to this true grasping at true existence. And therefore, what you need to develop is a wisdom or an understanding that goes counter to these grasping at or conception, which conceptual thought which grasps at some true existence in things. And therefore, when you think about yourself, for example, you have this notion of an I, and when you have that notion of an I, you also hold on to the I as this I as if it has some true existence, and therefore this must be countered by realizing that there is this I does not exist inherently.
And tenji sade now tenji sade. So now tenji to go digi tenji nugu reslam na nugu marwa. 자상하다 tenji 내겐디 담이 더 베시르리 뚱이 더 베시르리 근데 인도 젊식이 들려야 집에서 잡으면 왜 뒤지 뚱이 더 돌는 배스. 냐나 뒤지 담이 더 돌는 배스네. 손은 딱 멍구지기 인다데 코대서 봐. 다 저름식이 디 거버 쳐보신 송으셔. 땡지 나와 땡지 밀로스 거래. 나와 땡지 송대르잖아요. 나 간다 공부루주기 공부루주랑기 다 점점되게 공부 다 동리 따에 통 모임 볼때 가려서는 땡진 잡을 줘. 그다 떼는 줘. 땡진 잡을 줘 인도 떼는 줘래. 떼는 줘 인도 최저도 되게 코랑 뭐네 두투야 말이 현실을 떼네 샤고지. 그다 떼네 따겐디 도지기 똑배 딱 그래. 자 진짜 인도 떼네 줍점지. 떼네 여점지. 딱네 여점지. 저 땅이 민장장 전송샤의 내용도. 그 사람들 쉬야들이 동방이 소소 전송샤다 디디. 다 드리기 전에 몸물루기 대 장시로 저지 저시에 나려야. 뭐만 아니 저 동방이데 런시 모니기 매버 모니기 매버 따에 따와데 차다레스. 다디 군드르레스 도시 견주여들 telpa 랭주도 전에 아니 동니기 따에 가봐. 동번이기 더 아니 말에 동번이기 뭐 아니 동번이기 더 뒷마시벨 램버레스 랭견체 또 동번이기 더인데 가려서나 애나 고물루기 자셔 나리야 컨슈머시 럽사리 땡신 잡는 중앙 강 되는 동번이도 셰스 그래서 우모벨 루기 동번이 있어야 돼 쟤네 나라성 계시고 말이지 거의 여버지 거의 여당고想了 라레베고는 여버 인도잖아요 때문에 라와에 뭐 매버 차르지 어떻게 인도잖아요 에노 우모벨 투모모인게다 동번이 전다 시야 인도잖아요 때는 딱좀 마도 모니 주고 매버지 송되게 그래 저한테 인도 젊으시고 제송해야 돼 런시 여버 말에 우모반에 송원치 애니 넘릭보다 그 사물로기 애니 다른 가람들로 나한테야지 타니에도 여버들이스 그러다 타니에도 여버들이스 진나와도 둘려있어 지도자네 팔면에 여버지는 거 열라 팔면에 그 최저의 대 모지 샤고야 모지 저고야 팔면에 최저의 대해서 주문주세 최지 팔면에 마샤나 그 때문에 주도 나 런시 매번 말에 애니 우메베 가르친 거잖아 팔면에 여버지 나한테야지 진실로 추별로 있어 팔면에 다운이네 야 말이지 팔면에 야는 세나 세르서 두고 와서 세나 세르서 두고 누가스 나좀 대이 무슨 버잖아 싸우는 니야 누가스 제가 진짜인데 니야 매버디 매네 많이 봐 말이지 따와나 제네 많이 버리 진짜인데 다 마다 마저랑하는 줘야지 마도 다시 제네 니에 루스 제네 최샤바이나 이렇게 하는 게 된지 이렇게 하는 거다. 자, 진짜인데 그런 러면 랭댕기에 아니 talking about 나래야 나 세야디 모디 아니 생시 이기 남시디 나래 sensu도 자상 풍부sem에 맛이 샤인 거 젠니야 샤다 저들이인도다 근들 있는다 정신 매물마에 우모베 루기 아니 유익은은 가장 싸우는 야말이지 니야 야말이지 다원은 편은 지기도 나니 여타저리 신야래 날 때는 신샤고래 나이 윤기 때문에 거와보다 전에 저는 돈앞에 사지 바꿨으니 나이 윤기 때문에 샤고야 돼 야래 얘는 나 대화면도 가 대화도 동네 면도거리 근데 이래서는 나 누가 쓰는데 다 팔면에 야말이 근데 인도 타니야 딱 봐본 게 여버지 의미지 주고 저는 어떤 땡주를 저 송샤디 댄지리야 균제 댄지 댄은 중에 댄지스 또 균제 댄지를 고용 것도 와 나한테는 댄은 샤베 댄지스를 차로던 샤 고도 와 대내다 댄은 딱삼 슬로윤도 딱들이 팔면은 싸우는 말이지 다 전에 봐 노지 타녀 딱 배관에 여점식 대에 똑배 강 소소잖아 아니 타녀도 지리 생활로 때도 양론이 샤도고 말봐 자 드리 인도산에 지리 생활로 되는 양론이 샤고도 산에 다 지리 타녀도 여등에도 가려서 러버이나 타녀도 잡아인 거 잡아 전체로 타녀에 서마시니 메뉴가 대서도 마세 다 타녀 요루디에 딱준 세니 예베 루스샤니 샤고치 이나 타녀에 주신 뭐 이나야 타녀가 남샤신 뭐 이나야 내가 단답 주시고 그 내용도 배나 섬섬 군시다고 딱준 세니 강사서야 박사 구시 딱준 세니 아니 루모땡기 셔가지고 또 세니 딱준 세니 예베 루스샤로 봐 자상가 든든들다 타녀에 전시가 레디 이네 달라야 단답 주시고 그 내용이야 저 든지 인도다 타녀도 예베 최지 예수로 가르친 것으로나 타녀도 자신 주어인 거 달라 타녀가 정하신지 믿어봐 달라 단점 주시기 지지자 믿어봐 든지 중수나 타녀도 예베 버려 자상가 제시를 간에 쇼주마도 타녀도 여드면서 편에 주대요래 편에 주대요나 타녀도 예마 편에 주면은 타녀도 메모서야 돼 샤도 자상가 댄지고 코 처무지가 레이브도 어디 저 딘데인데 딘데게다 댄지고 코 댄에 딱ပဲ댄지고 코 야우스 레이드잖아요 애네 가서 댄중 동바 댄중사 고래고도 직투제 댄지가 직투제도 자니 많이 버티기 동버티기 예벌 수 예번 그냥 가고도 와 다 때는 딱섬리 사디기 터네 동니 고아들 레베이나 원이 유튜브 동인자 샹로 라레 타바레 때는 딱고 타바레 때는 딱고 타서 때는 좀 타바레 때는 좀 타서 댄지 좀 타바레 균제 타바레 솔로 타도 나가도 저한테 인도 점수 그런 게 렉션 이고 난 사샤네 지된 그거 진이 대해서 머리게 강시 토면 대도고 댄시 잡을 좀 송스 강시 토면 대도고 아니 다음에 송스 뭐 송스 댄시 잡을 좀 송스 송도 어떻게 내가 전부 루루고다 슝들이 소 루루고 슝기 댄시 잡을 좀 되는 동반이도 시 되는 때에 다고데 디니 우면라면서 타인 써야 돼 네가 레고도 디 가서 저기 고블루루다 사이도 아니 아리안데 그중에 롱도 장사를 댄지 잡는 좀 말해 가서 이수도다 다다 가다 댄지 좀 나다 강식 가서 가다 에네 강서 댄지 중에 왔다데 강을 댄는 중요해 봐 댄는 라원 민주로 디그 라원 매봐도 되나 다네 이런 거 있잖아요 댄중 댄지 거니 다는 송도 와 대서도 마세면 머리부터 떠야리야 아니 댄중 그다 되는 통고를 세 송도 와 시상 루루야세 니제 나한테 받는 나와자왜 다가는 신체니 아니 가서 드니 돈 지된도 남바 둥기 미미기 남제 매버 지된 일은 늘 랑가 양라 때는 도보인 세네 딱간다 양라라 때네 아니 양라제 차셔라 때네 차제 다 편주 때는 저거 썸마도 되게 응원에 랑왕권에 여대 제야 말이세네 어다 송대 딘중 규제 쪼지 송는 것도 와 그래서 점시 공부 대신에 가서 뒤지 던지도 봐 털은 배 써야지 내가 쳐버려셔
nếu không có trí tuệ thông đạt chân lý thì tu tập tâm niệm như cùng bồ đề thì bạn không thể nhồi tận
So with regard to this verse number 9 and the fourth line, it says, so strive in the means of realizing dependent origination. Now here, dependent origination is, of course, the appearance of things as they relate to our perceptions, that they are dependent, they are appearing. And of course, if Rinpoche had said, so striving the means of realizing emptiness or selflessness, perhaps it would be easier for us to understand. And but then you saying that realizing, asking us to realize and strive to realize dependent origination has, when Rinpoche has said this with great purpose. And so the purpose is that, according to the teachings of the Buddha and also the masters like Nagarjuna, the unique understanding of emptiness, according to the Prasangika system, is that emptiness means dependent origination. And therefore, dependent origination, when you say things are dependently originated, what that means is that they are dependent or contingent upon other factors. And through these other factors, they are established, they come into being. And therefore, they are, things are said to be designated. And when you have things designated, then you cannot have any kind of existence which is not dependent on that the process of designation, and therefore things are dependent, related, and therefore they are merely nominal and merely labeled and designated. And so Master Nagarjuna, in his 24th chapter of the Mula Madhyamaka Karika, says that after first setting up the criticisms from giving the criticisms from the realists, saying that if things do not have any essence, any independent called objective existence, then that is a nihilism, they say, and that is actually denigrating their teachings. And then in answering their criticism, Master Nagarjuna says that the realists have not understood the purpose, the nature, and the meaning of emptiness. And so when it comes to the meaning of emptiness, regarding the meaning of emptiness, Master Nagarjuna says that what arises through dependence, and that is said to be empty. And so, and therefore, he says that the things when the Madhyamakas, when they say things are empty, we are not saying that they are nothing, but that the way things do exist is by way of dependence on other factors, and therefore they are empty. And since things are dependently arisen, they do not have any independent existence. And so the dependent origination, understanding of dependent origination is the unique way in which the Madhyamakas understand that things do not have any independent existence, things are empty. And so what happens to us usually is that things appear to have some kind of objective existence.
모니 주요나 따뜻한 샤바미도 봐. 때는 샤바미도 봐. 봐. 산다들이 인도 기행 공부로 대기로 세기 투 아얀다와. 얘네 부터벌리다 산제장. 얘네는 다 와서 디슈디기 동주직 잡셔 세세직 나셔도 다다. 뭐냐 전에서 쉬우지르셔디.
And so here I wish to add that Buddha Palita, in his commentary to Master Nagarjuna's text, has said that if things have any objective existence, any essence and existence from their own side, then what is the need for us to label things? Through what is need for them to be designated, and therefore, if things were to have any objective existence, then there's no need for them to depend on other factors, and therefore, what Master Nagarjuna has said, and what Buddha Palita has said, and also the other disciples of Nagarjuna, like Aryadeva and Chandrakirti. I mean, the way they have explained what emptiness means, I mean, thoroughly, it's like putting a seal to this ultimate reality and making the understanding or the meaning of emptiness very clear. And so, although, of course, to us things do appear to have some objective existence, but the realists, of course, say that because there is this appearance of objective existence to our perception, therefore they must exist. But then the Madhyamakas object to this. They say that if things were to have any objective existence, then as we search for the things in themselves, and then with they should become more and more clear. That objective existence should be more and more clear to us. Whereas this is not the case. We cannot find when we try to find. I mean, when we do search for the things in themselves, nothing can be found. And so they say, if things were to have any objective existence, then that means they should have true existence. And just as Bhav Viveka actually has said, that this I that we have, the sense of I that we have, has some objective existence from its own side. And but then the Prasanghika Madhyamakas say that when you search for that I, you cannot actually find anything that you can pinpoint as being the I. And therefore, but then that doesn't mean that I does not exist. I mean, a person does not exist. And we can say that I want I don't want to be happy. I don't want to be miserable and so forth. I want to go there and do this and do that. So we can see, of course, conventionally there is this I, a person is there. But what is being denied is that they do not. This I, this person, does not have any objective existence. And so, since the person does exist, but the person does not exist objectively. Now, the only way it can exist is by way of designation, and therefore the Prasanghika say that the I is merely labeled, merely designated. And so within that understanding of the designation, the things are merely designated, you should still be able to deal with the conventionalities of things. And therefore, how do you explain that things do exist conventionally? Then, therefore, the Prasanghika say they are conventionally existent and renowned, and those conventionally renowned existence are not undermined by other conventional validating cognitions, and then also that they are not undermined by the cognition or the insight which this critical analysis into the final nature of things, which searches for any kind of objective existence in things or not. And since it cannot that kind of analytical mind does not undermine this conventionality that is renowned, the things are said to be established conventionally. With regard to this last point, that things are not undermined by this ultimate analysis, I mean, the critical analysis into the ultimate nature of things. Those philosophical schools, when they say that things have some objective existence, they are always trying to pinpoint something within the object, a person, whether it be a person, for example, in the case of the Chitta Mantras, the mind-only school, they say the true identity of a person is the alaya vijnana, that alaya consciousness. And so even if they do say that alaya consciousness is a conventional phenomena, but then when you do critical analysis into whether that is the identity of the person or not, I mean, you will not be able to actually find anything that you can point out and point as being the person within that area also. And therefore, this kind of thesis is undermined by other conventional validating cognitions. And so such thesis and such assertions are invalidated by this kind of analysis into the conventional conventionality of things. I mean, through the perception, looking for some conventional eye, and therefore, whether something exists or not cannot be posited from objectively from the side of the object themselves, but you have to posit things from the viewpoint of a mind, that a validating mind that actually establishes it. And therefore, this is the very subtle dependence, how things arise or how things are established through dependence in the Madhyamaka system. This is a very subtle way of understanding dependent origination. And therefore, they talk about the Master Naga saying, Tsongkhapa saying that dependent origination is very significant.
다 독립 주지 리베 소데 땡지 대본 중앙사의 셰도도와 근데 이 인도산에 콘대기 양 코와도 양대기 뒤에 단 뉴직 취했을라베이나 뉴직 취하는 아니 땡의 중에다 땡중의 정신이 그래서 균제게다 땡중의 정신이 근데 인도산에 디균제도 거네 아니 말에 땡지게다 땡지 루어메바 직통 디니 균제를 거네 아니 되게 공도 쉬스면 난신기 다 가서다 민도 타니에게 파 땅섬신 마도 팔문에 두번 매대버지 근데 인도 덴징기 팔문에 여대버지 셴니 데 세스다지 나를 랑 그냥 은진도 차샤네 나 세야지 초도버지 그게 여대버지 로를 샤니 대간에 달로 차와 진짜 랭고르다 다가는 신기 지 셴스들도 대한다 강성지 어디다 쳐도 나타온다 저다 셴스잖아요 팔문에 여대버지 로를 랭고르 다디 믹데 들스고다 다디 믹데 싸우는 식토지고요 뒤에 고르르기 애니 페지티브에 동의도 주베이나 리포트 주베나 지나리아 내제 삼단 담발라 녀몽 투진 지민중스 나 가서다 나밤 가서 나서다 간다 나트 잡았을 때 믹데 사바이나 녀몽 투진 기그레스 그래서 딘데인데 녀몽 투진 깨세 내데 시고그레스 믹데 시고그레스 다디 송겨야 저선 고르루 간다 되게 쉬하게 동니 과바 동니 과바 순선다 디라도가 동니 과바디 덴지 시고요래 덴지 시고라 믹데 시고요래 근데 이두산에 배나 로벨랭데도 타녀도 장세 셰베 인두산에 가다 믹데시 타되기도 타녀도 장세 여도 디니 전 담발 담발 못 줘리 송인두산에 그 믹데 타도 다 원이 유튜브 동아리 타냐도야 원이 유튜브 동아리 신순에서는 미디식도 자진의 인류 대대배다 땡중기 교센도체 양은 콘데 유튜브 최대 그래서 뉴체 마셔게 최 탐제 때는 딱 버렸어 근데 인류 때는 딱섬 신부 균전도 제네 미디 타다 시고 중구도나 되는 산지 집에 놓을 수 버렸어 대답 많이 봐라 균제 땡지 지 덴지기 바 덴지 다 변에 차를 되네 차전사로 어전 되게 돈에 지금 나와 던지 로메 버티샤 다디 던지 로메 버티 소인데 미게 타다 식베 똥버서 떠서 로를 못줄 제제 나에 똥벌라 개체 똥배 나와라 개체 지기 모니 주베 똥에 사되기 나와야고 쉬어 마셔 봐 나에 로메 샤바이나 모니 똥한데 로를 밑에 버지 근데 중국도나 나와 던지 로메 버다 똥바 모니 주베 똥바 캘린더 저 캘린더 저 고원이 타시암 제 타게 잡아다다 저 가보면 뭐 지면 뭐 잡아보다 오면 타다되면 되지 잡아니 시선 송샤게 잡아타다 시에 똥바 캘린더 저 고원이 보지 지수 속속 나와 지수도 더동투배 공부도 봐매 다디 낭동이 부디 가서 댄지 딱섬 세하게 댄에 딱섬 세하게 댄지 고아디 야오 줄로를 샤워체님 다디 잡아체 랑게 땡데 잡아체 숙소 땡데 잡아체 또 선침배이나 다음에는 숙소 간에 샤베는 다시 캡쳐서 주지 당연 수제의 신주도 오블로 주게 한다 오모 자시로 나라리야 풍부 레실면 데르테메 디시시고 풍되면 디시시고 강신이 있다디 디시시고 사 측디 넘버줄제 다지자와 강신이 있으려이나 소소강 따라 상당동도 풍부 레실면 데르테메 다지자와 풍되면 다지자와 강신이 있으나 조조 처럼이나 다 풍속 처리에 수경고 명점실 나가야는 명점 중미수도 가르시 디시 명점 이자 매선 즉다 자연들 배미대 식용도 지다 와다 든지기 남시人점 봐 아니 던지 루어 봐 통일도 전에 디 통섭니네 어다 뭐지 좀 메타진다 사바지기 총수 던지로 도도스 내버다가 그 주절을 내버 하고 대응하지 연구도나 아니 통섭니네 니시 유진 진당 군직나 드스다 잡고 쏴발라스 에나다 나에 동범민고 동배 나와민고 다 낭동 송주 사대니 코아들레 연구야리 어디 송인 버리 됐다 잡아 쏴발라 대대비 낭동고 코아 지침버지 중앙이나 아니 낭점니네 팔문에 주버지 나용데 대자도 주버메 사버지게 남상벽에 나에 여자세니 나와 때에 딱섬지기 섬스 코이르잖아요 그게 원이 유튜브 똥되게 나의 여자세 똥배 메타세스 원이 유튜브 똥슬도 샹라라르버지 코아지 더 측디 무슈첸 담바도 말에데 코아들레 통해지 저서 똥보다 땡중스야 돼 대가사 좋대 전로름시 땡지되베 저바 배멀되베 나리야 가사데 대민주 유유제 무수 남자 용주기 전도 시방 말하싱스 달데 교감인도 저 녀도 사오래 전다 송샤들이샤 샹나 여다사와 동배 메타세시 딘지 차윤도 동배니 규든 저부차를 수시나스 공원이 동배되게 다 균제기 땡제디디 모니 동배人心 딘지 뭐 인도산데 되바다 대는 좀 디디 딜레소 샷데베 소르지 딘지 통용도 동니 균제수 차와 송고요 대대비다 규든 저부차를 수시나 당시 따라 잡고 민주로 따라 잡아 소배해야 돼. 되는 주도에는 대다 람게서 넘승기 나노 랑게 지신 똑같이 웬버텐데 준주 똑게네 땡기 두번도 주식 부서 손셔야 돼. 나 대대비 람게서 나버서 못되게 고아 차바시 총소나 도마 뒤중 거 고아. 다 되네 그로바 상당 인도잖아요. 다등에 가서 양아지 지 여동도 시기면 돈이 배지 떠야 말이 안다. 돈이 떠야 말이 있네. 당번이 상당히 배지로다 하는 십주신도가 십중거 주신샤. 돈이 상당 십주다 말이. 그래도 자연도 그렇지 곰용도 식직이네. 배나 어머 수바와시도 싸워다 뭐 수바와시도 항상 식디 나 취주간에 뜬거야다. 로 패지 주단데 반에 지지고한 시제 뜬거야. 레디 딱그 다디 로 투주 다 라스티진리아 그 던던던던샤네 또 상대잖아요. 또 들켜서 상대다인데 그 지고로 떠서가 어머 수바와시다. 사와다마 수바와시다. ስለ도 지고로 떠서가. 제자들이 인도 고문나마도 영하면 되가. 제가 걔한테 다 동익 다와서야지 다 동익 다와다 디디는 베스. 다 가서 사직 퇴. 다음에 남주소가 나버서도 과로 걸어 차소나 에나 할람베 떡밥집에 소리잖아. 논주다. 다 토마 투중고 고아제. 다 투중고 고아지 예대버 디가로 섬중기 예반예바지체. 다 되네. 고무고요래. 나 곰두산에 공부 열심히 지금 축축수 삼담배 핑면도 와. 다 튼섬 체네. 곰고요래. 다 튼섬 체네. 곰배 커둘래. 엔다 장조한테 가사도 연락도 뭐 장조 던송아. 그봐. 연락도 뭐. 이봐. 상주가 연락도 뭐. 장조 로루도가. 저상 내가지 초지신 세도 또特别 공부다. 아니 루루야서로서 어떻게 제가 사운다 야 네가 내배 지지자배양다 지금 아니 참발로서 어떻게 해서도 저도가 거기에 학계 탐지고 있기 20장을 다 과야 말에 그 가다 뒤인데 디디 야 템퍼처네 디 텐스잖아요 디디 숭디들 사운다나 디디가 연대 자용도 와 그래서 루루가 자시로 디디 사운스타인데 신의 루루가 연대 통용도 와 대박이기도 와 자, 디네 인도산에 디디 숭제된 그 춘주디의 상무시다네. 엔디디야 템퍼처. 삼기 미협이 개배고 뭐. 개바 개장 치기 개장 개바서 뭐임. 냠신나네. 주변고만 통보를 시키네. 기름 닌된 게다 기부다 봐 디디 바직 세트. 엔 달래야 다 소스 곰자야 디디 나도 겨워시라네야. 아니 양라도 봐. 상주고 양라도 봐 디디. 엔디네 다 상당 대결이 상당 다 상당다데 제공도 조금씩 제바치네 네반장 네바 거로지 네베 거도데 애야 다가가는 로해네 샤네 조금째 양 지금 나르 대변나 돈이 고민도잖아요 지금 원이 당연히 내가 디지털 야고 내가 인중도 상주 섬사 디디마 상다 섬래야 병원에 지금 생고 띵네 요요하지 구조태하지 지 연구도는 애야 딩하라 중세샤 양 그지로도 더 소쇼총루도는 양 제공제 양 좀제 상다 양 되게 그게 가소래 semnalbe svevorcia chatebedia ya kasore gyapsor chekche do sen ene kazosneda gen chunju chaba다가 지금 semn 민중으로 끼야로 장죽성으로 끼야로 따뜻해 돼도 고민을 주래 사 장죽성 자샤네 장죽성 뭐만 줄게요 말이 요 말이 되네 장죽성스도 지금 사운다 따뜻해 로페지 숨주 해지 싶으신 신샤 사움 쉽다네 쟤는 어디 되게 요태도 또 겁니 중어를 말도 사직 시에는 중어 말 봐. 그 겁니 다 연구해 봐. 사진이 인도 검거해야 돼 뺏겨 버리셔. 다전에 동리다 고민이잖아요. 어디 되게 심하다고 나 신기니. 다 베스도 스탑 버리. 아들 내 샤샤버디 지금 그게 사변 삼제 말도 뒤지고 도서 교하셔 대시비 핑말이 그 도저히 맞는데 도저히 자신이 세대위네 된지도가 그 도저 사업을 중요해 직성을 구조 채택도 저들이 인도 거라 지금 동리 때문에 슝 하다당 가서 시월에 더지시야 어디 슝도 저디 개인을 배시하래 자시로 개인을 예버리 아니 가서도 베네미스 캠프 자시로 책이 송도가 시신경 송도가 세차주 예어와 배지 우문 주고 개인을 열에 십제바 열에 십제바 열어 저상 우문 십제바 개인을 도가 서 배지 Vietnamese 나를 패시 여줘. 전에 오다 아등에 딱과 롱차 자시로디 개인하도 아니 쉽게 봐 개인하도 오문주부 개인하도가 자 뒤따고다. 도스전이 인다 전조 송지전 동이 다와리는 전조 송지전 다 꼼제 넘시 아니 규리야 다 전조 송지전도 공명도人别게 정말 쇠쇠게 뉘앙스 냐라 미우도 취하신 거지 양모도 취했어 나한테 땅에 겁나 깨서리 사버지기 최로 걸어지야지 그래서 나 차잖아 전죽선도 돈이 다와도 연주디디 양모도 취우지 배신이 겁나 땅에 겁놈에 봐다 지다 진짜로다 제마도시 겁바이나 배지 또버디 깨서 사버지 정도가 저자 양모도 취고 다 양모도 취는 예대버 될이야 아니 더도 못는 겁네 쉬고 지금 막 군사 상담 뒤체인도잖아 아니 배samle배 구조 시우지 betting 지기 뒤저적이요 다 딘득이야 말에 더동 죄명이요 전국이야래 다 죄명이요 배 탈심버지 다 죄명이요 깨베 참라 아니 가데 세들 스버다 신에 다 태고심 시사처럼 다 태고심 시사진도잖아 택신 사람 충무사한테 깨버려 되는 사람 딩 사람 첨부 되는 사람 저 점무 서버 쳐져 되는 통람 사탕부이시 되는 산이반에서 공람 사 구티체 다 도수도 줄이 다 네가리야 나가 내배자 야래 나가 내배자 생이 너는 셰셰가 람디디 차상지 심어 차상지 탱고 삼리야 나가 냠는 샤레 마도 디디 심해버처럼 나가 냠는 샤베이나 무디비 상하다 이니 패지 지부지부 차르고도 와 그래서 소소 맞잖아 땜바지 과차가 시네 야오지 뭐잖아 휴주선도야 그냥 시작이야 다르다 왜 맞든지 준주 똑게네 땡긴두면 유튜브 주식 부 시번디니 만도되게 경로 로사되게 배지 사고보 나와 잡아라 담보고 다 차수돼
nhân sinh ra quả không có hư dối hay xác thực thì hủy diệt hết thảy cái ý hướng chấp cảnh chấp thật vì đấy là đang đi vào cái đạo lộ làm chư Phật hài lòng.
So with regard to emptiness, the main reason to prove emptiness is that things are dependently originated. Of course, when we talk about dependent origination, there is the causal dependence of things, which we call the compounded phenomena or composite phenomena. And when you understand that things do come through causes and conditions, then that gives you an unfailing conviction, and conviction in the unfailing nature of how things are dependently originated. And that in turn leads you to understand how, because they are dependently related and dependent, that things do not have any objective existence, and therefore the grasping this grasping at true existence in things as if they have some solid and concrete existence which is within ourselves. Can be countered. And so when we think about ourselves, of course, or others, we always have this notion that I or the others do exist objectively. And therefore, Master Nagarjuna says in his perhaps in his 60 stanzas of reasoning that as long as there is something that the mind can nestle in, that to that extent, why would the three poisons not arise in us? And therefore, the purpose of emptiness, as Master Nagarjuna has mentioned in his Madhyamaka Karika, is to destroy this grasping at true existence in things, and that the things have some objective existence. Like in the case of Bhaviveka, he asserts that things must have some objective existence. So this objectification of things is something that we must destroy. And the verse number 10 says, when with respect to all phenomena, samsara and nirvana, you see that cause and effects have never deceived their laws. And when you have dismantled the focus of objectification, at that point you have entered the path that pleases the Buddhas. And so any kind of objectification and things that remains in your mind, I mean, to that extent, you will not be able to do away with all the negative emotions because of this true grasping at true existence and things. And therefore, what you must understand is that things, whether they are composite phenomena or uncompounded phenomena, they are merely designated, they're dependently arisen through designation. And when we talk about designation here, there are different degrees of understanding it. Sometimes in certain, according to some philosophical systems, they do say, of course, that things are dependent in terms of how a whole and its parts are dependent. And but then, when we talk about this dependence of the parts to the whole, and when there is this appearance of the parts as a whole, and then because of this, their dependence, the whole depending on its parts, I mean, you may still be left with some kind of objectification of something in the object, and therefore there may be time, although you may see, it's dependently originated, but then you are not able to do away with this objectification of the dependence of the things. And therefore, what you need to do is to reject any and all kinds of objectification of things, that they have no, they are empty of any intrinsic existence. And therefore, in verse number 11, it says, so long as you two understandings of appearance, which is the undeceiving dependent origination in terms of this appearance of how things, the whole and the parts are dependent, for example, and then emptiness, devoid of all thesis, remains separate. To that extent, so long you have not realized the intent of the sage, the Buddha, which means you have not still reached the true understanding of emptiness. And therefore, what you need to do is to overcome any and all kinds of elaboration, mental construct, or objectification in things. And that is what is meant, referred by Master Nagarjuna as being free, or peace, called being free from all these elaborations. In his salutation, a verse of salutation in Mula Madhyamaka Karika, and therefore what you have to understand, I mean, what you have to come down to is rejecting and deconstructing any and all kinds of objectification in things, so that you understand that things are merely designated, that they are dependent in the sense of being merely designated. And so, with this understanding, then Master Nagarjuna also, as he says in the 22nd chapter of Mula Madhyamaka Karika, it's not the aggregates, nor something different from the aggregates, separate from the aggregates. Neither the aggregates are in him, nor the him in aggregates. So the Tathagata is does not possess the aggregates. And apart from that, what is the Tathagata? Who is the Tathagata? And so this same verse can be applied to yourself. Instead of saying Tathagata, you can say, I'm neither not the aggregates, not something separate from the aggregates. I'm not in the aggregates inherently, nor the aggregates are in me inherently. And then I'm not inherently within these aggregates. I'm not inherently the aggregates. And what else who else am I? And so in this way, you have to bring up this understanding of emptiness, true understanding of emptiness. And Master Nagarjuna also, you can also use these the quotations from Master Nagarjuna where he says the form, called physicality is mere name, and the space itself is mere name. And therefore, since there is no nothing that can be posited as having objective existence, and then and what kind of form and so forth can be asserted. And so in this way, you have to what you have to develop is, on the one hand, develop the understanding that the dependent origination of things are unfailing, undeceiving, and then on the other hand, you should also develop this understanding that there's nothing independently existing. And so as you train your mind further and further in these two, that you should come to a point of understanding that as soon as no sooner you say you think that there's something, when you see something that it arises through dependence, that it is undeceiving in terms of being dependently arisen, and at that point you should be able to bring up this understanding that there is nothing inherently existing. And so that's the meaning of the verse number 11, saying that so long you have not. Therefore, what you need to do is, in verse number 12 says, however, at some point when without alternation, but at once, the instant you see the dependent origination undeceiving, if the entire object of this grasping at true certitude is dismantled, at that point your analysis of the view is complete. And so, this must be this is where you must come reach in terms of understanding the true insight into, having the true insight into emptiness. As soon as you think about things being dependently arisen, that should immediately give rise to this insight into emptiness. And when you think about emptiness, also you should be able to bring about these. The understanding, the insight that they are dependently originated. Otherwise, it says in verse number, and then furthermore, it says when appearance dispels the extremes of existence, and when emptiness dispels the extreme of non-existence, and if you understand how emptiness arises and as cause and effect, you will never be captivated by views of grasping at extremes. And so, in this way, what you have to develop is, on the one hand, that things are have the insight that things do not. Things are free from the two extremes. So by understanding that things appear through dependence, you should eliminate the grasping at the existence, eternalism, and by understanding things are empty of inherent nature, that you should be able to do away with nihilism. And this is what also Ajahn Lama Rinpoche has mentioned. And then so just because, so in verse number 13, it says in verse line 3 that, and if you understand how emptiness arises as cause and effect, what this means is that your understanding of things having no independent existence, because they are independent, devoid of independent existence, that should give rise to the understanding that they are, the causality is infallible and incontrovertible as well. And so that the emptiness is seen as if, the causality is like the manifestation of emptiness, or the sport of emptiness. And so this verse shows the measure of having completed your analysis into emptiness or correct view. And then the verse number 14 says, thus when you have understood as they are the essentials of the three principal aspects of the path. So here, in order to gain understanding of emptiness, and also the experience of the renunciation, this determination to be free from the bondage of samsara, and also bodhichitta. Of course, you should first listen to the teachings, study them, and then give thought to them. And so, of course, I'm not saying that I have understanding or insight into emptiness. I don't pretend to do so. But then, having spent some 40 to 50 years thinking, reflecting on emptiness constantly, I have been doing tantric practices, like Vajraparava practice, and so in the sadhana, the daily yoga practices, you always come across this phrase, Om Svabhava Shuddha Sarvadhamma Svabhava Shuddha Ham. And so when you come across, when you recite that, and what you are actually going through is the meditation on emptiness. And so because it takes time to gain insight, to gain understanding, real good understanding of emptiness. And therefore, just because you have received some teachings this time on emptiness and this text, the three principles of the path, and particularly emptiness, you should not think that, oh, now I have understood what emptiness means, and just be satisfied and feel satisfied there. But what you need to do is further study and study of different texts, such as the text written by Master Nagarjuna, and also the Chandrakirti's and Master Nagarjuna's Mulya Madhyamaka Karika should be studied, Master Chandrakirti's Madhyamaka Avatara, and also the 400 verses of Naryadeva. These texts should be studied to further your understanding and deepen your understanding of emptiness. And in this way, you should reflect on the reasons that prove emptiness, and by hearing the teaching, by listening to the teaching, studying them, so that you develop the wisdom that grows from, or that wisdom arising through reflection. And when you do meditation on emptiness or the renunciation and bodhichitta, you should also do it you should have an actual meditation session, and then the breaks in between the meditation sessions. And then during the meditation sessions, of course, you should do the practice of the 7-branch practice that you have recited before. And you should also visualize Buddha and Maitreya and Manjushri and so forth, as well as masters like Nagarjuna. So when you visualize these beings, what you should actually feel inspired by them is their writings. And so reflect on their writings and go through the meanings of their writings, and then you should bring up in your mind these masters, the Buddha, and so forth. And so do the 7 once you have sat down, then you should do the visualization of the state, Buddha, the Manjushri, Maitreya, Nagarjuna, and so forth, and then do the 7-limb practice, and then go through the meditation that you want to do, for example, renunciation. First you do some analytical meditation, and then when you gain some kind of a certainty about the meaning of the renunciation, then you should rather do single-pointed meditation. And then as you do single-pointed meditation for some time, sometimes it may happen that the strength, the intensity of a meditation might decline. And then in order to strengthen your meditation, you should again go back to reflecting on the meaning and the reasons and so forth, to cultivate renunciation and bodhicitta and the view of emptiness, and then again go back to single-pointed concentration. And so you switch between these two, so that whatever your meditation you are doing, they become rather fresh sort of experience, rather than becoming dull in your meditation. And so with regard to bodhicitta, also I have been reflecting on it, of course, for about 40 years now. And so I can say that, there's some taste that I can feel, but then I do not claim to have the actual experience of bodhicitta. And so you should alternate between the analytical meditation and then the focusing meditation, so that it's like having a fresh new food for your thought. Even with regard to food, if you take one kind of food every day regularly, then you don't sometimes, at some point, you don't feel the food to be appealing. Therefore, you need some new food. And so it's the same with meditation. So you need to combine both of these focusing meditation and analytical meditation. And then you should develop further, where you become have some experience that grows through effort, and then that leads to effortless experience.
다들 돈이 다 지 금중기 간다 돈이는 금중 영향이야. 아니 신의 고야. 신의면은 아야 말해. 대대보다 신의 대 나바토지 팀이 규르로야 직당 다가는 신기니 가서 저기 돈이도 따와대 나바토지 팀이 규르로야지 영어리야 장죽성 고야래. 아니 인중체 디디체 다 대대비지 시르고 라바다 띵인징 라바 드디지 영어리야 수중을 라고 고야래. 다 수중을 라발이야 러중그 수rim다 내가 소다그 수rim다 아니 장죽선배 수림 아지 수림체 수림 숨체 다 소다그 수림이야 김배 수림다 아니 러중그 수림 니체 다 안데 김버서 개념이야 된다.
In order to have what you need to do is to you need to develop this called the wisdom realizing emptiness that comes through meditation. For that, of course, you need to develop shamatha, this single-pointed concentration called calm abiding. And in order for this calm abiding to be, which focuses on emptiness, to become a course for you to reach omniscient state of Buddhahood, and you need to combine it with bodhichitta, and also the view of emptiness. In order for it to become the course that leads to the omniscient state of Buddhahood, you need bodhichitta. And so you need to develop the wisdom realizing emptiness that focuses on emptiness, and then in order to that in turn arises through meditation, and for that you need concentration, and in order to have single-pointed concentration, you should also based on ethical practice of morality, and within this there are the vows of the monastics and lay people. So here we'll have we'll do the vow of for the lay people. And so those who wish to take the Upasaka vows, layperson's vows, please make 3 prostrations to the Buddha first. And then, you should here visualize the Buddha here it is with us in person, and then make 3 prostrations to the Buddha. And after that, so this is for lay people, do 3 prostrations to me, who from whom you are taking these Upasaka vows. So this is only for lay people. So please kneel on your right knee after making 3 prostrations to the Buddha and 3 prostrations to the Master. Kneel on your right knee.
Any that loyal James solo. The loyal. Then any Mijulame Junes. Then any chang tong bon. Or the chang. 봉전에 어다 러시 나와도 되리 자이는 러시 미스와 구모고와 아니 달라자디디 페이지 팀도 게도가 저들이 인도 러버 캐럴라네 말하네 순고로다 다 미줄라면 주인 아니니까 페이지 야 말이 다 전에 인다 창통들이 다 러브주나 창 때나방 창도 창라 때나방 때도 방 못네 아니 내가 유지도 스가나요 하래 뉴뉴스통 라시 못 켜는 것도 못해 독시야 다 제대로 러브시 나보디 다 러브시 나보디 숨에 아니 개인 두기 세세 다 달라이 토마 산제를 접수로 처를 접수로 긴를 접수로 모든 데를 타네 아니 러브 숨야인다 진두시야 벽에 진두시야 단다들이
And so with regard to these 5 vows, first is not killing human beings, and then this second is not stealing, and then third is not committing sexual misconduct. And so in any case, whether you take the vow or not, if you go against these 3 principles or the practices of not killing human beings and stealing and then sexual misconduct in the case of, for example, rape, you would, by the law of the country, you'd be doing something bad. And so it's better to do these practices of not killing and so forth by keeping some vows. And then the 4th vow is not, of course, telling big lies, which, of course, you are not in danger of committing. And the 5th one is not taking alcohol. Please repeat this. Known by this name from this time, as long as I am alive, seek refuge in the Buddhas, the best of the bipeds. I seek refuge in the Dharma, the best freedom from attachment. I seek refuge in the Sangha, the best of congregations. Master, please consider me as an upasaka until my death. Master, please pay attention to me. I say with your name, from this time on, as long as I'm alive, seek refuge in the Buddhas, the best of the bipeds. I seek refuge in the Dharma, the best of freedom from attachment. I seek refuge in the Sangha, the best of congregations. Master, please consider me as an upasaka, or upasaki for means, until my death. So think of taking these 5 precepts, and at the end of this 3rd repetition, His Holiness will, at the end of this 3rd repetition now, His Holiness will snap his fingers, and at that point you feel convinced that you have received the upasaka or upasaka vows. And if you have taken these vows before and not caused decline to them, you can feel that these vows are enhanced further. Master, please pay attention to me. I, known by his name. Say your name here, please. From this time on, and as long as I'm alive, seek refuge in the Buddhas, the best of the bipeds. I seek refuge in the Dharma, the best of the freedom from attachment. I seek refuge in the Sangha, the best of congregations. Master, please consider me as an upasaka or upasaki. Feel convinced that you will receive this vows until my death. Like so, say like so. Please sit down. Next, we'll do the ceremony of bodhichitta.
Any choosing setups and the Shuimba, that digic setup. Any Tenalia, she Yana Dunjukone, any sauce of the Divajan, Chigio, Saba Cheje, any chance of the Vietnamese can or Yana Dubuchita, Yana Duba.
And so, as I explained earlier, when you do meditation, when you sit for meditation, you should visualize the Buddha and Buddha Maitreya and Manjushri and Arjuna and so forth, and then do the 7 limb practice. Now here, the next thing that we are going to do is the bodhichitta ceremony, and therefore visualize these merit fields as I've explained, and then do the 7 limb practice. So have a clear realization of the Buddha and the lineage masters, and then do this, recite the 7 limb. You lying amongst humans, go into freedom in the present, past and future, in the worlds of 10 directions. To all of you with body, speech and mind, and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy of aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms of the world, to all you Buddhas visualize this real, I bow down. On every atom and are Buddhas, numberless as atoms, each amidst a host of bodhisattvas, and I am confident that the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with the Buddhas in this way. With infinite oceans of praise for you and oceans of sound from the aspects of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of the Buddhas and celebrate all of you going to bliss. Beautiful flowers and regal garlands, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense I offer to you, victorious ones. Fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder, heaped high as Mount Meru. All wondrous offerings in spectacular array I offer to you, victorious ones, with transcendent offerings, peerless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength and conviction in the Bodhisattva way I offer and bow down to all the victorious ones. So the Vietnamese were quite quick to finish the 7 limb practice, and His Holiness, he was saying in Tibetan he couldn't finish.
고불루주기 우머리지 차야나리야 사도 초다 메달롱 맨더건배 신신도 다도 심전 탐지기 라가감이 짜자셔 심전 나로 쏴봐지 달라다다 체봐셔 달라다다 딩민지 다게말로 되면셔 신 지스 심전 것이죠 하다 다들 누구입니까 가다 신주타지 내주지 소는 시리 다 간다 고불루주기 우머리지 차야나리야 동린다 딱신염지도 소는 거야 나라디 로리아 잡체 다 다른 거서 밀리톤 상부 든지기다 동 투야지 예배거리야 다 랑신 꾼을 차다 윤도다 대화지다 제야데 다 다른 거서 그거야 근데 이두잔에 다 랑신 꾼을 천유 꾼을 그 페퍼 버시 대화지야데 심기 sen다 심사부시게 셴 나게 태도 심자로 팬데 버시도 사바지 내고도 터도 그 팬데 버시도 보다 네 남양 미시 사바지 너무 디시티 다디 네 뜻거들다 팬버 주야게 내고도 터도 그 팬버 주야페 타로 두군 주야가 되다라다 랑이 에네 산지지 고만 타버려 저기 타버려 쇼지 사바지야.
And so with regard to bodhicitta, I've explained it before. And so in brief, as Master Nagarjuna said, we should think along these lines where Master Nagarjuna says, may I be sustenance as in accordance with the wish of all sentient beings, and inexhaustibly like this, the earth, water, fire, and called wind, and this filling up the space. And then Master Nagarjuna also goes on to pray pray that and may I be able to hold all sentient beings dear to me and give them everything good, that all the virtues that I have created, and may all their negativities and sicknesses and so forth ripen upon me. And then, having found this human life, we should think of making this meaningful one in the sense of taking the opportunity to think and intending to bring benefit to all sentient beings and not harming them, even in thought. And so with this, you should think of developing bodhichitta, cultivating bodhichitta. So, think that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are here and intend to become a good student of them. And so the way to do that is by developing bodhicitta and the view of emptiness. And so think of becoming a Buddha in order to help all sentient beings. Think of becoming a Buddha for their benefits. And so just as you will come across in these lines, that you would repeat. And so think of benefiting all sentient beings, bringing them the benefits which are temporary as well as the ultimate goodness. With a wish to free all sentient beings, I shall always go for refuge to all the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until I reach the essence of enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, diligently for the sake of sentient beings, in the presence of the Buddhas, I generate the mind for full awakening. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. I repeat again, with the wish to free all sentient beings, I shall always go for refuge to all Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until I reach the essence of enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, diligently for the sake of sentient beings, in the presence of the Buddhas, I generate the mind for full awakening. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. At the end of this third repetition,
냐바바 정도 마세요. 시간 한번 될래. 냐바바 지금 신의 바돌기에 거둘래. 냐바바 지금 껴 새로 장죽선 쌤 계셔버디. 냐바바 지금 사바치야. 다 산지기 고마. 뭔도 줄여야기. 다 그룹들 들을 때다 고추요 사바치야.
And so at the end of this third repetition, and generate this altruistic intention to become a Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, this full awakening, a mind of full awakening, bodhicitta within yourself, and then if you make this a pledge to not cause decline or awaken it, and in this life as well as in the intermediate state and life after life, make this promise. With the wish to free all sentient beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until I reach the essence of enlightenment, enthused by wisdom and compassion, diligently for the sake of sentient beings. In the presence of the Buddhas, I generate the mind for full awakening. But as long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. So generate bodhichitta here, and then make a pledge that you will not cause decline to it in this life, and even at the time of death, that you will remember it, and so that you will be able to not cause decline to it in the bardo, the intermediate state, and as well as in lives, in the future lifetimes. And then in this way, having generated bodhicitta now, you should feel that you have now set yourself on the path to enlightenment. So when it comes to practicing bodhicitta, of course, you should never give it up and to never give out on other sentient beings. Even if you may have to fight with them, do so, but then never give up on sentient beings.
Well-being, try to oppose. That kind of sort of attitude is out of compassion, out of sense of concern over their well-being. Okay.
So what His Holiness is saying is that, of course, when somebody is doing something wrong against you or others and committing non-virtuous action, then what you should do is you should feel concern for their well-being and try to stop their wrongdoing while you don't lose your compassion to them.
가셔 결혼과 남자신 수용어들이 여래 맞아 시 기고 딱고 나바가 샤니 송시도가 그때 두자 레 시도 타고지 명세 원래야 샤들을 맞아 용다시 샤야 말이 자 드리 인도산에 야하게 패지 야하는 주 둘셔에 상하 주주 먹고지 패지 당나나 차대요래 자 드리 인도 야하게 뭐냐 전에 그 주진소리야 당나용 차가 벽이 얘네 주진소리야 당나용 맞춰서 이렇게 말아야 자 드리 인도산에 급비야도 전화해야 돼 공상가봐 뭐 나로서 자서 공기 공리야 당나 먹고 싶은 데도 봐 근데 그 당나야 생인데 내가 뭐시버지기 일단 내 뭐시베 미도디 나로래 근데 그 당나야 여도도 가 나는 당나지에 저다 가다 내 뭐시베 라마 기부타버들이 당나 용돼야지 또 저들이 인도산에 한다 고상가바 침을 당나 준대버디 거라 뭐 내지 차대야래 다 고상가바 침을이야 당나 몽구지 여변안에 다한테 매래 제나지 매래 진을지 당나지 어디 다 진주가는 애들 탑이야래 도스체 애들이 인도다 들이 고상가바 침을 당나 공기 매래 제나디 차이다 다 될래야 나 로단디 지 신국이 다 대셔지 거야래 다 주주면도 다 장도 대반에 요래 다 대셔지 먹었지
So with regard to Tantra, there are few Tantras where the Buddha actually appeared in the form of a monastic and the wearing of the monastic robes, but most of the Tantras are given by the Buddha in the form of a deity, a lord of a mandalas. And so these teachings, these Tantric teachings were given to very few select disciples who were matured enough for such sacred teaching. And therefore in India there were masters who had pure visions, Mahasiddhas who had pure visions. And because of the having pure visions, then they also wrote texts on Tantra. And if it's possible for Indian masters to have pure visions of deities, mandalas, and so forth, why not Tibetan masters as well? And why can't Tibetan masters have the pure visions of deities and so forth? And so here, the Jenang, this permission to practice the deity, the medicine Buddha that I'm giving, is a pure visionary teaching, comes from the pure visionary teachings of the fifth Dalai Lama, who had visions of many different deities. And then there are other people whom I know who have had visions of deities. But regarding myself, I do not have any pure visions of deities and so forth. It's only me who does not have such pure visions. And so with regard to the initiation here, it comes from the pure visionary teachings of the fifth Dalai Lama. And the medicine Buddha is what I'm giving, and I have received it in my childhood and have been doing practice on them. So ideally I need to give explanation of Tantra, but then we don't have time here to do so. And since you have faith, that will do. To the Dalai Lamas, other previous Dalai Lamas had the pure visions of deities and so forth. And so amongst the Dalai Lamas, it's only me who does not have any pure visions. But I usually say that I am the most famous Dalai Lama. So all the rest of the Dalai Lamas, past Dalai Lamas, was said to have pure visions of deities and so forth, but it's only me, in the line of Dalai Lamas, who does not have any kind of pure vision. But I usually say that I'm the most famous Dalai Lama of all. And then, because I am living in exile, I also have the opportunity to travel around the world, and so I call myself a bhikshu, a Buddhist monk, a peripatetic Buddhist monk. There's a mandala offering for the initiation. So now I will do simultaneous translation. I can't wait. There are all kinds of diseases in this world that being suffer. So it's important mainly to live a healthy life. And then on top of that, when you're sick and while taking medication and treatments, you should, if you do the practice and recitation of the medicine Buddha mantra, that also helps. So for the very specific purpose of taking this initiation, or the Jenang of Menla, the medicine Buddha, imagine me, the guru, in the form of medicine Buddha. In my right hand, I'm holding the Arura medicinal plant, and then in my left hand, which is in meditation posture, I'm holding, imagine me holding a begging bowl filled with nectar. And then around me, imagine the seven other Buddhas of medicine. And earlier, I've done the preparatory practice and visualize like that, and therefore you should do this visualization of me as medicine Buddha in the center, surrounded by seven other Buddhas. And so we'll do the bodhichitta vow. So please repeat these lines, where you are going to go through the practice of taking refuge in the Dharamsala and then bodhisattva vows. And so not only should you think of becoming a Buddha for this benefit of all sentient beings. In other words, not only should you have generated bodhicitta, but you should also here think of engaging in the bodhisattva practices that lead you to that ultimate goal of Buddhahood. And so please repeat these lines 3 times after me.
Xin vâng vâng ấy, tổng 3 lần. Tại vì trước đó mình đã phát vào đề tâm nguyện, có nghĩa là mình chỉ nguyện thôi, không những nguyện mà bây giờ mình phải hành trì cái bồ đề tâm hạnh.
Please repeat these. So please repeat, I seek refuge in the 3 jewels. I confess all misdeeds individually. I rejoice in the virtuous deeds of all beings. I take to mind the Buddha's enlightenment. To the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, I seek refuge until I reach enlightenment. To fulfill the interests of oneself and others, I shall generate the mind for awakening. Having generated the mind for highest awakening, I shall invite all sentient beings as my guests. I shall engage in the delighting supreme practices of enlightenment. May I attain Buddhahood to benefit sentient beings. Please repeat it for a second time. I seek refuge in the 3 jewels. I confess all misdeeds individually. I rejoice in the virtuous deeds of all beings. I take to mind the Buddha's enlightenment. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I seek refuge until I reach enlightenment. To fulfill the interests of oneself and others, I shall generate the mind for awakening. Having generated the mind for highest awakening, I shall invite all sentient beings as my guests. I shall engage in the delightful practices of bodhisattvas. May I attain Buddhahood to benefit sentient beings. Now at the end of this 3rd repetition, so at the 3rd, when you repeat the 2nd verse, you should bring up this bodhicitta within yourself that you have done before, and then the 3rd repetition. The 3rd verse, at the end of the 3rd verse, what you should think of taking the bodhisattva vows. May I attain Buddhahood to benefit all sentient beings. And it says, I shall engage in the delightful practices of bodhisattvas. And so, if you take bodhisattva vows, you should keep the 18 root downfalls and the 46 secondary precepts of bodhisattvas. So those who wish to take bodhisattva vows, at the end of this third repetition, when you say, may I attain Buddhahood to benefit sentient beings, you should feel convinced that you have received the full set of bodhisattva vows, the same kind of bodhisattva vows that are in the Guru. I seek refuge in the three jewels. I confess all deeds individually. I rejoice in the virtuous deeds of all beings. I take to mind the Buddha's enlightenment. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I seek refuge until I reach enlightenment. To fulfill the interests of oneself and others, I should generate the mind for awakening. Having generated the mind for highest awakening, I shall invite all sentient beings as my guests. May I attain Buddhahood. I shall engage in the delightful practice of bodhisattvas. May I attain Buddhahood to benefit sentient beings. So with this we have done it, practice of taking refuge and also bodhicitta and bodhisattva vows. So if you have received initiations, full-fledged initiations before, here you should you can visualize yourself as medicine Buddha, but if you have not received any initiations before, then here you should visualize the medicine Buddha on your crown. So this is this mantra in Sanskrit, Svabhava mantra. And so what this mantra shows is the selflessness of persons and selflessness of phenomena. And so through this mantra recitation, what you are meditating on is these two selflessnesses. So as I explained earlier, you should not just be content with the appearance of things, but when you actually check what this I is, you will not be able to find anything that is that you can point to as being I. And similarly with regard to Buddha Shakyamuni, you will not be able to find him within the body or the mind. So although we have this notion of an I, which is like a controller of the body and the mind, there is not such a self. And there is no such an independent self. And therefore you should have this, develop this understanding now of the emptiness of yourself.
Trên thân của vua Phật cũng không tìm thấy Ngài, trên khẩu của Ngài cũng không tìm thấy có Ngài, trên ý Ngài cũng không tìm thấy có Ngài. Nên Đức Phật Diệt Sư tìm thấy cái không, cho nên hai điều này là khác nhau. Nên mình không tìm thấy tại vì nó là hư huyễn, nó dở hợp ấy. Nên mình giờ quán tưởng như vậy, đi tìm cái ngã.
他认识到位，他的禅定嘅第
So this mind that feels certain that that I does not exist inherently, that I am devoid of inherent existence. Imagine now that this very mind focused on in the lack of inherent nature of yourself transforms into yourself as Medicine Buddha. And then on top of your crown, also you imagine the second Medicine Buddha in the center, surrounded by 7 other Buddhas of medicine. Have a very clear visualization of yourself as Medicine Buddha, and then Medicine Buddha on your crown, surrounded by 7 other Buddhas.
Chánh định và trên bình bát đựng cam lồ là thuốc ấy. Và xung quanh mà là 7 đức Phật Dược Sư, 7 đức Như Lai. Và những vị nào chưa nhận lễ lãnh thì từ cái hiểu đức Phật Dược Sư đang hiện diện trên đỉnh đầu của mình và xung quanh có 7 đức Như Lai.
So the disciples, having visualized yourself as the Medicine Buddha, the central deity, surrounded by the other 7 brothers. Now you are given these blessings by the Master, who is also in the form of Medicine Buddha. And so from the Master's heart, rays of light go out in the 10 directions, and they draw in the blessings of the body, speech, and mind of all the Medicine Buddha, and of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions, in the form of the blessings of body, speech, and mind of Medicine Buddha. And so these come down and dissolve into you. Imagine this.
Sẽ hòa tan vào Đức Phật Dược Sư trên đỉnh đầu. Những cái chất cam lồ là tiêu trừ tất cả những cái bệnh tật.
Lama nam thar yedi chinbeb di choshe. Da dene pumbo tsuki shwa. Da dene nge pumbo di dus tekche.
So as I raise this the vase and make supplication, the 8 Buddhas of medicine are generated in this vase, so they are invoked. And imagine, as I make this application, nectar flows from these Buddhas and enters your body, and thereby purifying all the negativities. And also, you are all cleansed of all the viruses and bacteria and so forth that give rise, that cause sicknesses. And and imagine that your immune system is strengthened.
Rồi là có phóng cái hào quang trong cái loại hình đó, rất là nhiều chất cam lồ. Từ nơi loại hình đó, cái dòng cam lồ nó tuôn chảy vào thân khỏi của mình, nó tẩy sạch hết những cái nghiệp chướng thân khỏi của mình rất là nhiều đời.
So the nectar fills your body completely, and all the negativities are cleansed, and then the surplus water overflows on your crown, and you are marked with, imagine that this overflowing nectar transforms into akshobhya on your crown. And then this image of Medicine Buddha is touched on your mid-eyebrow, and thereby you should imagine that you receive the blessing of the body of Medicine Buddha. And then the mantra of Medicine Buddha is touched on your throat, and imagine that you imagine receiving the blessings of the speech of Medicine Buddha, all the blessings of speech. And then the home syllable is touched at your heart, touched to your heart, and imagine that as it is touched to your heart, imagine all the blessings of the heart or mind of Medicine Buddha come to you. And then this arms bell is touched to your navel, solar plexus. And then imagine receiving the blessings of the enlightened qualities of the Medicine Buddha. Imagine receiving this enlightened quality, blessing of enlightened qualities of Medicine Buddha. And then this Arura medicinal plant is touched on your to your private place, and imagine that you have received the blessings, all the blessings of the enlightened activities of Medicine Buddha. Next is the transmission of the mantra. So at this point I will read the short sadhana. So some time ago, one of the abbots, former abbots of Ceremonial monastic college requested me to write a short sadhana of the medicine Buddha, and I wrote this. So the first verse is a homage to the Shakyamuni Buddha, who through his teaching has become the unsurpassed teacher, who teaches dependent origination of things, and who is especially kind to the beings of this degenerate age. And then there is homage to the seven other Buddhas of medicine, Tsenlek, Jayang Gyalpo, Ser Sangpo, and Nyangin Mechok, Chodak, who have made their prayers, oceans of prayers, to benefit sentient beings. And then the third verse is homage to the Dharma jewel, and also the Bodhisattva Arya beings like Manjushri and so forth. The Dharma jewel, which dispels the, which is the true cessation and true path, which is like the lamp dispelling the darkness of ignorance. And then Manjushri and so forth, who have the qualities of refuge and liberation. And then also homage is paid to all others who are worthy of veneration. And then there is the seven-limb prayer. Invoking all these masters and the Buddhas and so forth to bless sentient beings. Namo, please repeat this. Om Namo Bhagavate Veganse Guru Bendroya Dharamsala Tathagataya Arahati Samya Sam Buddhaya Deyatha Om Beganse Beganse Ma Beganse Beganse Raja Samungade Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Beganse Guru Vedaya, Dharamsala, Tathagataya, Arahati, Samya Sam, Buddhaya, Deyatha, Om Beganse, Beganse, Ma Beganse, Ma Beganse, Beganse, Raja Samungade Soha, Namo Bhagavate, Beganse, Guru Vedaya, Dharamsala, Tathagataya, Arahati, Samya Sam, Buddhaya, Deyatha, Om Beganse, Beganse, Ma Beganse, Beganse, Raja Samungade Soha, Deyatha, Om Beganse, Beganse, Ma Beganse, Beganse, Raja Samungade Soha, Deyatha, Om Beganse, Beganse, Ma Beganse, Beganse, Raja Samungade Soha, Deyatha, Om Beganse, Beganse, Ma Beganse, Beganse, Raja Samungade Soha. So with this, Jenang, this permission to do practice on the medicine Buddha is finished and completed. So with this, the teaching for the Vietnamese is completed. So with regard to the teaching, what it means is to do, it's not just talking about receiving blessings, but we should actually study. I mean, to practice the Dharma. In order to be able to do your practice, you should study the Dharma. And therefore, it's important to study and do practice of the Dharma. And so I usually say that we have to be 21st century Buddhists, and so for that, what it means is you need to understand the Dharma, and on the basis of understanding the Dharma, then if you do your practice, it will be effective. The teaching there will be effective. Otherwise, it's not enough just to do the practices like as if it's a custom and reciting mantras and so forth. And so you should not just be satisfied with that, but just do study the Dharma and then practice. So everything is completed now. We'll meet next year again.
Cái bạn này là ngài rất là minh mẫn để chỉ soạn riêng để cho Phật tử Việt Nam để mà tụng đọc và niệm hàng ngày. Chúng ta là cái trang số 23.
So this is a short, long life offering, puja for His Holiness.
Trang số 23, thỉnh nguyện chí tôn Dalai Lama thứ 14 trường thọ. Om Swati, ngài hiện thân đại bi trí thân của chư Phật.
Tsongkhapa dur.
Cùng đọc cho nên là chúng ta không quay
Ani
đọc.
kenza.
Om Swati, ngài hiện thân đại bi trí thân của chư Phật, gom cùng một thể như Bạch Tí Sơn, hóa thân thánh tự tại trên đời. Nguyện bậc thầy chúng sanh trong ba cõi chiến thắng, toàn tri như hoa ưu đàm, là ngọc quý trên đỉnh đầu của mọi hữu tình. Giáo pháp ở trần gian, vô song hy hữu trong ba cõi. Nguyện thắng vương liên hoa thủ cửu trụ, ngài từ khởi thủy vốn là Phật, phát nguyện kiên định như kim cang, duỗi tay nhân giữ chúng sanh giữa trời tranh đấu. Nguyện đấng đại tự tại thập địa vũ trụ, chứng tri giai tầng đạo lộ bồ đề, tam mật hòa nhập bất phân ly, công hành trí bi bất tư nghị. Nguyện nam nhân phương thứ hai phương bắc, thọ mạng nghiêm trường, thiết hiện trước tác vô chướng ngại, hoàn toàn giải thoát tám tự tinh đại tạng, thuyết pháp biện tài vô ngại giải. Nguyện đấng đại toàn thắng phương phương cửu trụ, giáo pháp tôn quý của đấng chiến thắng lột sang trạo qua, suy dương giảng tu nghiệp khắp trăm phương, diệt trừ giặc thù ác độc với bộ não vôi ma quái. Nguyện đấng sư tử hống tiến vô ý cửu trụ, giai tầng tam hiền tam tục mật chú đạo lộ, tứ quán đảnh du già thần thông hòa thai trong bốn giai đoạn, chứng ngộ hiện tiền bốn trí thân, thỉnh cầu biến chủ kim cang trì trụ trụ, mặt trời trí tuệ đại thụ ân, chân thể các pháp câu sanh bất nhị thông minh, xua tan bóng tối hữu tịch. Nguyện đấng đại tự tại du già cửu trụ, ngài là kho tàng tất cả bí mật trong biển tục bộ, dòng giải thoát tốt lành hội tụ bốn dòng phong, dẫn vào mảnh đất đời đời có duyên
live
lành,
for 100
nguyện
years. Show
đấng
on him
thủ
your
hộ
blessings
bí
so that
mật
his
vũ
aspirations are
trụ,
fulfilled without
duyên khởi
hindrance.
hiện
To
bày
all
pháp
his
luân hồi
members
xuất
of the
thế,
enlightened,
hiện như
enlightened
nhiên
noble
ban sơ
spiritual
vốn vô
community
sanh
who
cực tịnh,
never stray from
trung
the
đạo
thoroughly
thâm sâu
liberating
ly
Dimension
chư húy
City,
luận,
who possess
nguyện
the
đấng
wisdom
long
eye
chủ
that
thiện
directly
thuyết
sees the
cụ
profound
trụ,
truth and
thời
the
luân
highest
nội
valor
ngoại
to
mật
destroy
tam
all
bất khoan,
machinations
bạch
of
liên pháp
cyclic
vương khéo
existence. To
giảng
you we
bày,
offer praise
thị
with
hiện
fervent
làm
devotion.
thầy ở xứ Bô
Gyatso,
To,
protector of
thỉnh
the land of
cầu đấng
snows,
thời
lived for 100
luân kim
years.
cang
Shower on
cửu
him your
trụ,
blessings so that
ánh
his
sáng minh
aspirations are
điển
fulfilled
khởi
without
ra luân
hindrance.
hồi,
To
xuất
the
thế
assembly
pháp,
of the
bất
heroes in
tăng bất giảm
darkness,
tự
heavenly
nhiên
beings
thành,
of the three
Phật
worlds who
quả
appear in the
khởi
highest
thoát chẳng
paradises
cần
and
dụng
sacred
công,
places and
nguyện bổn
cremation
lai
grounds,
hội
and who,
chủ phổ
through
hiền
creative
Phật
play
cụ
in the
trụ,
100-fold
cánh
experience
tay
of bliss
vô
and
ý nắm
emptiness,
kéo
support
cương sa mã,
practitioners in their
chở
meditation
tất
on the
cả
excellent
pháp
path.
Phật thuần
To
tịnh,
you we
là
offer our
nơi duy nhất
prayers
cho
with
chúng
fervent
sanh
devotion
giáo
that
pháp
Tenzin
nương
Gyatso,
nhờ,
protector of the land of
nguyện ngài
snows,
Đức
will
Tên
live
Xin
for
Gà
100
Xô
years.
cụ trụ.
Shower on him your blessings so
Trên
that
đỉnh
his
đầu của
aspirations are
hữu
fulfilled
tình
without
trong ba cõi,
hindrance. To the
với
ocean of
rung động
protectors
kính
endowed
ngưỡng
with
hàng
eyes
trăm
of
lần,
transcendent wisdom,
xin
the
đảnh
powerful
lễ dưới
guardians
gót
and
sen
upholders
cát
of
tường
teaching who
luân,
wear
hiện
inseparably
đấng đại
their
pháp
matted
vương thọ
locks,
mạng
and
thiên
not
trường,
symbolizing the pledge.
đế thích thiện tiêu
Their pledge
diệt
to the
phi
virtual
thiêu
holder.
ma,
To you we offer
bằng
our
mãnh
praise
lực
with
kim
fervent
can
devotion.
trùy
That
thất
Tenzin
đỉnh,
Gyatso,
phá
protector of the
hủy
land
núi
of
đá
snows, live
ác
for
tà
100
kiến,
years. Shower on him
nguyện
your
đấng
blessings
tác
so that
ý
his
thắng
aspirations
lạc
are
cụ
fulfilled
trụ,
without hindrance.
thỉnh thánh
Thus,
hỷ
to
lạc
this
tại cung
congregation of
điện
excellent
Bô
and
Ta La,
receiving refuge, we
tam
pray
mật kiên
that
cố
by the
chẳng
power of
biến
this prayer
chuyển,
expressed from
cụ
the
trụ
heart,
như
filled
đại
with
địa
fervent
núi
devotion
diệu
and
cao,
humility,
như
may
nhật
the body,
nguyệt,
speech, and the mind of
xin
the soul
ngài
of
mãi
the land
trụ
of
trên kim
snows,
can tòa,
the supreme
nương
Lama
nhờ
Sandin
năng lực
Gyatso,
chân
be
thật lời thỉnh
indestructible,
nguyện,
unfluctuating,
vô thượng
unceasing.
sư
May he
bổn
live
tôn Phật Bồ
immutable
Tát,
for 100
thỉnh cầu
years.
thắng thần
Seated
vô
on a
ý
diamond
ban
throne
ý,
of transcending
gia
decay and
trì thành
destruction,
tựu
you
vô
are the
chư.
jewel heart embodying all compassionate,
Oh, yeah.
beneficent deeds, all most courageous.
Thank you.
one you carry upon your
Cảm
shoulders
ơn.
the
Thank you,
burden of
everybody.
all the
See you again.
Buddhas of
Take
the
care.
infinite realm. May
Peter.
all your noble aspirations be fulfilled as intended. By the virtue of this, may the heavenly doors of the fortunate era open eternally as a source of relief and respite for all beings, and may the auspicious signs reach the apex of existence and release as the sacred teachings flourish through all the times and in all realms.